Hey there, so this video we're going to be going over install work, mostly electrical wiring. We talked about the shelf before, where all the stuff's going to go. One of the things I need to do, I'm going to make this a larger opening in general. This used to be the AC outlet, and then I had 12 volt stuff here and a 12 volt socket, so I'm going to just make a larger opening with that. And with this socket here, I'm going to swap that out for a different kind. Install the AC outlet here, and on the shelf we need to drill a hole, probably in this back corner, so that I can run conduit down the side, under the door. I tend to enter from the passenger side, so this is the door that I come in. I'm going to have a box here with some USB and a 12 volt socket, and then further back some USB sockets, so that it'll be easier to charge my phone. Okay, so I will try to record. I'll be wearing my earmuffs and my safety glasses. I have like the original fine oscillating saw way back. Got it when I was remodeling my house. Love it, but it's super loud. So anyways, let's get to it. Okay, so measuring this remodeling box. The remodeling box, it's got these little, this will flip up when you screw it down. So that's the kind that I want, because I don't have anything to nail it to or screw it to. 2 3/8 by 3 3/4, and you can see plenty of room back there after cutting the larger hole. Hey there, so show the progress for today. These are normal single schedule 40 conduit boxes, but you can kind of see the rough edge. I use my bandsaw to make it more narrow, and the reason for that, so if I put the box along the wall here, and there is like a cover for it, I want to be able to lift the floor, so lift the cover up and have it clear the box. So if you notice, that might be why these are a little narrow. I also used a hole saw, so that's my way to get underneath to the underfloor storage. So for the heater that's going to go under the floor, that's how I'll get the wire down. And in the bottom of the box, I also have one of the rubber grommets, so that'll just protect. It'll be like this, so that'll protect the wire from wire chafing. And then I'm going to move, and I'll show you the next bit. We also have a conduit box there. The conduit, we got a 90-degree bend, and then 2 45s to kind of scooch over a little bit. If I adjust my stick here, there's a hole that I drilled through the shelf, and that's how we'll get the wire down to the conduit boxes. So more on that tomorrow. The hardest thing, that little funky bend, I used my heat gun, that's this one, just to heat up the conduit and to bend it into shape. So the nice thing is, this is all, this piece under the door to the side, that's all glued in place. So tonight what I'll do is I'll paint it up, let it cure in the furnace room where it's nice and toasty, and tomorrow we'll install it. All right, see you guys tomorrow. And the one thing I should point out, when I was cutting the holes, I was using hole saws like this. So when I was cutting the hole in the rear to get down under the floor, so this hole here, and then I actually use those hole saws not with my portable drill but with my small drill press. So that's how I did that. So hole saws, add it to the list of things you need. Okay, so we're back to work today. It's a nicer day, more sunny. Been working on wiring up. So these are the lines for the SAE port that's outside, and I've added an infused line, and it's 10 gauge wire to match. It's a heavy duty SAE port. This is the 10 gauge line for the battery, and I'm going to heat shrink that. So getting that ready to connect to the link fuse. We've got the wood enclosure just dry fitted in place. I haven't screwed anything in yet. We'll take care of that in a sec. And then as far as mounting the breaker, it's got these copper things through the sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just barely drill them out a little so I can use a trim screw to just mount them. I'll mount it somewhere. I might have to lengthen the wire though first. And if I do that, because it's sunny out, I will just tape a trash bag over the solar panel so that I don't zap myself. So that's the progress so far. I guess to show the reality of working on projects like this, it does turn into a bit of a yard sale when it comes to all my tools. So that's just life, not a big deal. But yeah, progress is happening, so stay tuned. Morning everybody. It's a very brisk Sunday morning, just above freezing. So today, you can just barely see maybe. So I got the pipe here, but for the conduit, so we're going to be adding some USB stuff, USB ports, a 12-volt socket, and a line for the diesel heater under the floor. So we're going to just be running wire in the conduit today. Let's wrap up on what I got done yesterday. So I'm going to walk over here to the front. Basically spent a lot of time just organizing the solar wire. So this line here along the back, which is secured, that goes to the flexible solar panel on the front. We have a cutoff breaker. You need both. The breaker needs to do both the positive and negative, not just one, to be safe. And if I angle the camera a little bit, we have the MPPT controller in place. Also have a negative bus bar set up. I'm going to clean that up. One of the things I learned with a smart shunt or battery monitor, you can't just ground everything to the chassis wherever you feel like it. You kind of want you want the for the smart shunt, you want things grounded kind of before where the smart shunt ground goes, and then it tends to work a lot better. It measures everything accurately. So we're reorganizing things there, and let me reposition myself and we'll go over where wires are going to connect to the RV panel. Okay, so over here in the RV panel, we have the main reverse polarity, but the first position is the red line in the back. So we have, my father wouldn't be able to tell, he's colorblind unfortunately, but there are red, yellow, blue, and a green circuit. So the blue is not currently used at all. The yellow is for the max air vent fan, and the green line is solely for that 12-volt socket here in the back. So the plan is I'm going to splice into the green line, and in the conduit I'm going to use the green line for the new USB ports, and for a 12-volt socket should be able to handle that fine. The blue line I'm going to dedicate to the heater, because I know when it fires up it draws a lot. It draws over 10 amps, so I want that on a dedicated line. The yellow I'm not going to touch. That's to the max air vent, the light up here on top, so we're not going to touch that. And the red line has to go to the Lynx bar, because that's how that 12-volt that's how that 12-volt panel draws and feeds power to the battery. And so that line, this guy here, I did bring the I have like one of those label maker printers, so I am gonna label some wires today, just so if I sell this in the future, or if I forget, the next person will know what the heck stuff goes to. It's not overly complicated because, again, we only have 4 circuits, but label your stuff. Don't be a jerk. But yeah, it's cold, so let's get to work. Moving around, keep you warmer. All right, we'll check in again later. So one lesson I learned using these manual crimpers, you need an extra set of hands. So I use my vise. So this is 4 gauge. We'll just put the little crimp. Try to make sure all the wires are inside. And when you have like a vise to use and gravity to help out, see, it kind of wants to move around on you. So it's just easier once you kind of get it snug. You push down a little, and then you get a much better crimp. Everything's nice and secure, and then I'll just push some heat shrink over the end. I'm using green in this case just to indicate it's the main ground. Normally I would go with black for all the neutral or grounds, but there you go. Just want to show you. So before I put the RV panel away, we've got the fuses updated and we have everything labeled. So let's start with the red. The red is the battery. Yellow's the max air fan. Blue is the diesel heater, and green is the USB and DC sockets. And we labeled the white line ground. Happy Monday. So back at it. Waited to the afternoon for things to warm up. Before I wrapped up yesterday, I got all the lines pulled through the conduit, and right now it's a tight fit. But if I zoom in here, so we have the power lines going to a 5-way connector, a Wago connector, and I have the ground on the bigger size because I didn't want to feed 2 different ground lines. So there's one 10 gauge ground line, and that's going to be for the DC socket, the USB ports, and the diesel heater. Probably excessive. I probably could have done just a 12 gauge, but I don't know. I was just nervous about how having that many things off one ground line, and the ground line will go to that negative bus bar. So I'm going to be fiddling with this, lots of swearing, and I'll give you an update when we're done. So things wired up just fine. We got this one in the middle, we got the cover on, and on the top we've got a 12-volt socket, and we've got USB outlets. And then in the rear, I'll have lines. This is going to shove down to there. We've got the quick charge. There's 3 USBs there, and then I didn't need another socket, so I did 2 there. And these will snug up once it's screwed in place. The line, we have grommets in the conduit box and here to protect it. And the lines go, let me lift. And we got the lines just laying down there for when I start working on the heater. So yeah, good progress today. I think what I'll work on next is getting the Lynx bar and the battery in place. So stay tuned. Hello, Tuesday morning. So before I put the battery and the Lynx cover on, I wanted to show you how everything looks. So in the first position, we have the RV panel. I did remove the USB and sockets. I removed it from the bus bar, and I just doubled it up with the negative. The white is the negative from the RV panel, and then the black is the negative from the diesel heater and the USB socket line. The second position is for the MPPT and the breaker, but it comes off the MPPT. So that's the 100-watt flexible panel on the front. And over here, we have the SAE connector from the outside when I use my portable solar, and the fourth position's not used. So that is the Lynx. The other thing that I did, we used a 4-gauge line and that comes over here to the bus bar. And then this one, also 4 gauge, goes inside the cavity there where there is aluminum structure that I can ground everything to the chassis. So that is the Lynx bar. Over to the battery holder, we have I just screwed down some straps. I like these roller cam buckles. This cinches down tighter, and we got a bar here to keep it from the battery from hitting on top of that little conduit there, so protecting those wires. So now I'm going to just put the battery in and get the Lynx cover on and fire everything up, and hopefully no fuses blow. We'll see. All right, well, everything's in place. So this is for the smart shunt. There's 2 lines. If you look at the directions, the other line that's similar to this, which is right there, that gray one, that is only for the auxiliary battery. Cam straps have this secured nice and tight. The shims are, you can sort of see it, will hold it in place on bumpy roads. The only thing I forgot to do was to secure that casing, but I don't want to take everything apart, so I just zip tied it. The solar switch is on. I've updated the MPPT, and that is the smart shunt. The Lynx doesn't have Bluetooth, but my little wire is working. All the fuses are good. And I checked. I did switch. There's progressive dynamics. My GFC has the progressive dynamic RV panel. It's the 4135. I stole the circuit board off that does the DC charging. So right now I have it plugged in outside, and if we look, I don't know if we'll be able to see here, but it is charging. So the mini smart shunt, it started at like 22 amps, so it's ramping down, but the progressive dynamic RV panel circuit, which is in that black box, there's a little dip switch which I toggled on, and that charges lithium, so it's going to ramp down as it gets closer to full. And we can see below it, I also renamed the mini camper solar. It's kind of in the shade right now, so I'm only getting 3 watts, and I renamed the GFC stuff in the settings. So with this app, even if I'm bringing both, I'll be able to tell what's what and won't be confusing. So I took it all out to bolt together. I took the zip ties off, so I did fix that. And I took the fuse block off the main battery fuse because I realized it's so tight in that corner. I'd have to take the whole thing out to change that fuse. So by removing it, and I only reach in to here anyway, I don't put my finger over there. But that way, if the fuse does blow, I can actually change it without taking the whole Lynx out. So to wrap up the electric upgrades video, I wanted to show we do now have the Lexan panel in place. We drilled 3-inch holes for the soffit vents. I'll link those in the description. And on the back side, like to secure these, 3/8 hole, and on the back side that you can't see, we use these stainless T-nuts, and as they get pulled into the wood, the spikes prevent it from just spinning. A couple of them are this style as well, star knob with the bolt, stainless. So yeah, I just had to use what I had. So that keeps the Lexan cover in place, what makes it easy to remove. But now I can show off all the hard work. I can quickly see if a fuse is blown. And yeah, it's been a fun project. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching it. In the next video, I'm going to go into the diesel heater upgrade side of things. So hopefully see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye now.